Hello there. We are underway in celebrating our first year anniversary. And if you don't already know about it, I'm hosting a raffle and giving away more than $2,000 worth in cash and prizes. So if you or a friend have access to an Apple product, you can enter to win. For the complete details, go to sayyesToYourSoulPodcast.com. All right, here we go with another soulful episode.
The change for me was understanding that my soul was speaking to me through my body in the form of emotions, in the form of dysfunction and disease, and to say, hey, you're out of alignment with what's true for you. And now I see my body as my best friend, giving me constant feedback as to whether I'm in alignment or not.
Hi there. My name is Tessa Lynn Alburn. Welcome to Say Yes to Your Soul. This is where we're going to talk about how you can get past your spiritual plateaus, raise your feminine energy, and express your true self with sparkle. Hello, beautiful women. Today, our guest is Glenda Lane. And Glenda used to be like a serial achiever, is how she described herself back when. And she now has combined 32 years of experience as a physical therapist, 12 years as an intuitive soul guide, energetics coach, to show women who feel confined and exhausted from doing it all that there is, in fact, another way with more ease and spaciousness, and it doesn't need to cost your health or well-being. She merges practicality with spirituality to help you tap into your innate body wisdom, remember who you are, and make choices aligned with your true nature. And so, Glenda, I really want to welcome you here today.
Oh, thanks so much, Tessa. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And, when I was so this is like through one of these podcasting events, and Glenda and I just met. So just so in all transparency here. And there's a list that's given to me, and I look over the list, and I remember going down the list, and right away, Glenda's image popped out to me, and I got a nice energetic confirmation on it. So I'm really happy to have her here. And she's been through a lot. Glenda has been through a lot. And she has overcome, she's survived, all of that stuff. And so, Glenda, I would love for you to just give our listeners today a sense of what was happening in your life with all that achieving and the toll that it started to take. And we'll kick things off.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. So the serial achieving, the striving, the pushing of myself and the pressure that I was putting on myself definitely started to take a toll. And I started to notice it in my body around sort of university time. Not that it hadn't taken a toll prior to that, but that's really where things started to crop up for me. And, it was in the form of hormone imbalances, being diagnosed. I had to have knee surgery. I had mono 1 year, and then I injured a disc in my lower back.
So that's like really young to suddenly have all these physical things happening.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of amazing that you found this out early on.
Well, I wasn't aware at that point.
Okay, got it. All right.
I just know now that when I look back, that's like, oh, okay, this is where things were really cropping up. And at that time, those university years, I was very much in this space of not feeling enough, wanting to be accepted, people pleasing, engaging in all the protective patterns that we take on as kids, just trying to stay safe and loved. And so I was very out of alignment with what was true for me. And then that continued on with then digestive issues. And then I've now had 6 melanomas and 3 miscarriages and burnout. And so my body was speaking to me the entire time. Wait a second,
you're not even that old.
I'm 54.
Okay,
yes, I'm not that old.
You don't have, you look, pretty darn good.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's a lot. 3 miscarriages. How many melanomas?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It shocks every time I go for my dermatology checkup. There's a new resident in and they look at my file and they're like, whoa. And I'm like, I know.
Well, I'm really glad you made it through all of that.
Yes, me too. Thank you. And it just speaks to early detection has just, so grateful for that and being really taken care of. So, but yeah, that was that. And it's interesting. I haven't shared this with you, is that my first melanoma was diagnosed 2 months after my mom had passed away.
Oh.
So it was very interrelated, these things. I'm also a practitioner of traditional Chinese medical acupuncture, and in Chinese medicine, it all kind of makes sense, right? In terms of the connections between your emotions and the different organs and then what shows up in your body. So
let's take a moment there. I'm curious, as you have gotten to understand your body more and you've done some of those non-traditional healing methodologies, what kinds of connections were you starting to learn about and become aware about was there anything specific, around meridians, and you were seeing when I feel this way, this is what's happening, or this is what the result is?
Yeah.
What were you noticing?
Well, certainly, with the acupuncture, just even understanding that there was an association with emotions with the different organs, right? So with the spleen, it's worry and anxiety. With the lungs, it's sadness. The liver's anger. Kidneys is fear. So those absolutely. And then you could have issues with those specific organs, but what tends to happen, we see more so, are the meridians or the energy channels that are associated with each of those organs. And so then you start to, if there's not proper energy flow, balanced energy flow through these channels, there can be too much, there can be too little, or they can be completely blocked. And then that will show up as symptomology in your body. Pain could be one of them. Dysfunction is another. And so for me, it was such a departure from what I'd learned in physical therapy up until that point, to really learn about Eastern medicine and see that you're a whole being, that you're not just these physical body parts thrown together, that your emotions 100% are impacting your physicality. And for me now, what I've come to know about myself, and this isn't necessarily related to Chinese medicine, is that I know that when, for example, if I have a headache, I know I'm putting pressure on myself. That's just one of my go-tos. If my neck is sore, I'm often in control mode or trying to control. If I have pain between my shoulder blades, if there's stiffness there, I'm usually trying to carry the responsibility for someone else and their happiness.
Yeah, so this is really interesting because it's like you had really well-worn roots to these symptoms.
Yes.
Right. And so they're very specific. And did you ever have any that were not quite so specific, like you weren't sure exactly what it was?
Well, what's really interesting was, I guess, anxiety for me. When it was showing up, like, oh my goodness, I have anxiety and what's going on? And I would try to figure it out once I became aware of it, of course. And I'll just say, I was cut off from my body for the longest time, meaning that I was living up in my head the vast majority of the time until my mom passed away. And that was a real turning point for me, where I understood that I was feeling disconnected from my soul. And I was very disconnected from my body. And so my way to reconnecting with my soul was actually by dropping into my body, starting to feel and recognizing, oh my goodness, boy, do I ever feel a lot that I wasn't aware of before. Opened up my intuition. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how intuitive I am. And so, it really, I think that the change for me was understanding that my soul was speaking to me through my body in the form of emotions, in the form of dysfunction and disease, and to say, hey, you're out of alignment with what's true for you. And now I see my body as my best friend, giving me constant feedback as to whether I'm in alignment or not. And so to circle back to the anxiety for me now is actually my soul's way of saying, hey, Glenda, you've left the building. So in other words, I'm not in my body. I'm up in my head, or I'm looking for answers outside of myself. I'm scattered. And so when I use one of my energy tools to really calm my energy back into me and be fully present in my body, the anxiety goes away. It's amazing.
Yes.
And I know that that's not necessarily everybody's experience. That's just, sharing my experience of anxiety.
I want to unpack just a little bit more around what it was like for you to be the experience of being in your head, because I know a lot of women find themselves there, and some are disconnected from body, some spirit, some heart, right, emotions, and some just like from the earth. And I think sometimes we think we know what it means to be in our head, but we don't know what that feels like. Now, you just said a couple of really nice, cool things, relevant things. One was, that you're in your head for you when you're having anxiety. And I'm forgetting what the other one was. But tell me more about, like, when you're in your head, what is your experience and how does that color your world?
Yeah. Well, when I'm in my head, I know that I am mentalizing everything. In other words, I am trying to figure everything out just using my mind. So I am not tuning into my guidance system, my intuition. So that's one of the things.
So like you don't even think of tuning into your guidance system?
No, not when I was I didn't even know I had one way back when I was fully in my head. Yeah. So I didn't know I had this internal GPS, I like to call it, right? Your intuition. And the language of the body is energy. And again, I really wasn't in tune with that. So also when I was up in my head, just monkey mind, right? So many thoughts, because I was constantly trying to think things. It felt hard. It felt stressful. I felt alone. I felt very much like this is all up to me. I have to figure everything out. And I was cut off from experiencing pleasure, because being up in my head was not a pleasure-filled experience. It's where fear tends to take hold. So fear was my operating system. And so joy doesn't really tend to live there, and pleasure. And so
right, just more fear and more protection and more trying to solve things.
Yeah. And how do I get this right? And how do I, right? Because I was afraid that I wouldn't be accepted or loved if I didn't have the answers all the time. And then it would lead to headaches, because I'm just like so in my head, and which is great now. It's great feedback. If I forget, if I do go unconscious, and it's just great feedback, because it will give me pain. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, let me drop back into my body and be fully present. So that was the other thing. I was scattered. I wasn't present, not only not in the present moment, it was always off in the future or the past. So it kept me out of the present moment, and then it kept me out of being present in my body and being present to my presence, meaning my divinity.
Yes.
And so that's why it felt so isolating and so alone, is because I wasn't feeling or in tune with that connection with source, that connection with my soul.
Beautiful. So what is one of the ways now that you tap into that connection?
One of the ways now is I have 3 energy tools that I use, and it's sort of part of a guided meditation that I take myself through now. And I teach to all my clients. They get a recording of this. And really the 3 are centering. So it's calling my energy back into me, and into my heart space is where I'd like to go. So it's bringing me into my body. It's grounding, really connecting with the earth energy, and allowing myself to be supported, just allow myself to let go and be supported by that earth energy. And then also connecting to the divine above. So it's this 2-way energy flow, earth energy coming up through me, and then the divine energy coming down into me. And so when I do that, I am then at peace. I am then present. And then I'm also in this energy of just unconditional love. And so I do that every morning before I get out of bed and every night before I go to sleep. And it's just a way of coming back to I call it coming home to myself, or coming home to yourself is the name of the meditation. But it really is that. It's like, how do I want to start my day? What energetic state of being do I want to be in, and then bring that into my day? And then how do I want to go into dreamland? What is the energetic state that I want to go into my sleep with?
This is such an important point. I'm so glad you brought it up, because if we go to sleep with that monkey mind, that worry mind, the anxiety mind, guess what we're generating, right? More of that. Yeah. So do you mind sharing that as a tip, like how you do that, how you change your state before you go to sleep?
Sure. I mean, I can take you through it if you like, because that's something you'd like to. I mean, it's usually about 10 minutes long, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not able to, because I don't know if I have an interview in 2 minutes. So
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So let me teach you one of them. And this was actually the biggest energy tool for me, being so scattered the way I was, is calling your energy back into you. So if you just close your eyes, and I like to put my hand on my chest just to presence where I'm calling my energy back into me, also presence my body. And then literally call the energy, say, I'm calling all my energy back into me. I'm calling all my focus, attention, and energy right into my heart space. And if I'm visual, and so if you're visual and you love, I like to imagine beams of light coming in from all directions, all coalescing in my heart space, coming together and igniting that ball of light. Or it could be little fireflies that are dancing, making their way back to your heart, or little birds, flying home to roost, whatever it is. And just really coming back home. And so that your focus and attention and your presence is in your heart space. And you're bringing yourself into this present moment instead of having your attention on the future or the past. You just bring it all home to this moment right now in your body. And then from this space is where I then go into grounding and then connecting above. But it's so funny, when I was first learning these energy tools, I would skip this one. I'm like, I'm good. And I would go straight to the grounding and the connecting. And it was the very thing that made the difference, because how can you ground yourself if you're not fully in you? Right.
That's
and
right.
So that made the grounding and the connecting that much more potent. And I used to, one of my mentors that I learned energy work from, she's a seer, very powerful seer. And I remember her saying to me, she goes, Glenda, she goes, I can't see you. You look like a ghost, like energetically. And it was because I literally was not in me. And as you said, some people are like not even here on the planet. I think you kind of mentioned that, like they're not, not only are they not in their bodies, they're like not here. I was out. I was out playing in other people's energy spaces. I was looking for answers outside of myself. I was distracted, like all the things, and I was not in me. And so that has just made the world of difference for me now. And this is where our power is, right? This is where our power is as well.
Yeah.
So when we're not fully in our bodies, we're not fully in our power either to choose what is right for us.
Really embody to have that power connect. Yes. It's like, we can have a surge protector, but it's not doing anything unless it's plugged in and turned on. There's something going into it. Yeah, both ends. Yeah. So, Glenda, I would love to keep talking with you. Maybe we'll do that another time. And I really
love that.
Really just glad that we were able to make this connection today, and that you were able to share some of your story. And we'll make sure we get your information in the show notes. Oh, do just go ahead and share your website, or one way that people can reach out to you.
Yeah, well, I have a little gift for everybody. It's called 7 Steps to Freedom from Pressure. And these are steps that I literally took myself to free myself from that pressure that kept me in survival mode for so long. And I know you'll put it in the show notes, the link, but it's freedomfromwithin.funnelcures.com/, and then it's the number 7 steps. And so I'd love to gift that to all the listeners. And if you want to reach out to me via email, it's glenda@glendalane.ca. And I'm on Instagram as Glenda Lane Freedom Guide. So, and on Facebook too. But those are kind of some of the places that you can connect with me.
Terrific.
Yeah.
All right. And if you didn't get any of that, Glenda's information will be on the episode website and in all the show notes for your favorite podcast app. Glenda, thank you for being here today and sharing part of your story of soul and saying yes to coming back in and being with yours.
Yes, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it, Tessa.
Beautiful. Bye-bye for now. I will talk with you soon.
All right. Thank you for joining us for this week's delicious episode. Before you jump off, I wanted to remind you to get entered in the raffle this month because I'm giving away more than $2,000 worth of prizes in both private sessions and actual cash. What are those prizes, you ask? Well, one of them is a private 75-minute soul light healing session with me. And that can be healing on various levels. It might be releasing trauma or tuning up your body or your emotions or clearing things like past lives and karma that's been, energetic debris holding you back. This session can be very helpful and sometimes have dramatic results in relationships, money, and in your health. And we're going to do that together on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. The second prize is a 60-minute coaching session with me, and that's also going to be on Zoom. So if you want support or clarity for your goals, like help with getting started with a project or just creating an action plan, that is going to be an amazing session. You'll be surprised at how much you come away with. The third prize is a personalized meditation that I will design especially for you. And of course, it's going to be yours to keep. So it's going to be fully personalized in terms of the content, and I will be speaking just to you so that you will be able to resonate with it and receive the maximum benefits that you want to create. Okay, now for the fun stuff, the cash. I have several cash prizes in various amounts. I've got several $50 prizes, $75 prizes, and $100 prizes. So you can see there are many opportunities to win here, and I just want to encourage you to be sure to play because you do need to play to win. All monetary prizes will be delivered through PayPal or Wise. And if you have a different currency, it'll be automatically converted for you. So as long as you have access to an Apple device, you can play. And all the instructions are available on our website at sayyes2yoursoulpodcast.com. That's sayyes2yoursoulpodcast.com. And if you need any support in completing your raffle entry, my team is ready to help you with that. You'll find their email on our webpage as well. So that's it. All the best to you, and may you say yes to your soul.